And
Hello, how are
Hi.
you?
good. I saw Howie, Lorraine, and Richard. Lorraine, right?
Yes.
How'd you hear about the webinar?
Facebook.
Okay.
Curious.
All right. Well, hopefully I answer some questions. All right, let's see. What time is it? I'll give people one more minute, and then I'm going to start talking because I don't want to run that late. I know it's a later webinar. So, the dogs will start barking as soon as I start, I'm sure. Hear them growling at something. Robin, you might find some of the stuff in here familiar, or it will be. I use some of your stuff as examples going through here.
Oh, great.
Just visibility.
I like
There you
that.
go.
All right. So, good evening. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to get started. If people join late, well, they can join where they are. And this is being recorded, so you will be able to access it via my website later, probably not tonight, but after a day or so, it'll be up there, including any of the discussion and conversation. So it'll be there. If you don't want to be recorded, just have your camera off during the time where we're doing question and answer and stuff. You can leave your mics on or mute them if you need to talk to something or go for any reason. So we're talking about powering up your brand story. It's really the 7 strategies that we use here to successfully tell stories on social media. Obviously, at JRH Graphics, we believe that storytelling is one of the most important ways to get information out to your audience. So in order to do that, we use 7 different strategies. I'm going to jump right in. So those strategies are really getting visual, enrolling users to help, so any of your audience and followers to help you tell your story, verifying your story with proof, creating a story arc, expanding on the blog, magnifying with influencers, and 7th one is engaging. So we're going to be reviewing all 7, like I said, but the main focus of the webinar is going to be the 3 big win strategies. And those 3 big win strategies are creating a story arc, expanding on your blog, and creating connections with your audience. All right? Nice and easy, that part. Nobody has any questions, right?
No.
Okay. So getting visual. Use videos and images to help tell your story on social media. It's one of the most important ways to get your story out there because social media, especially platforms like Instagram, are very visual. One of the reasons that visuals are make such a big difference is because our attention span as humans is 8 seconds long, which is 1 second shorter than goldfish. We have very short attention spans. Our brains can process images and videos much faster is what we're programmed to do. A lot of people transfer words into pictures in their brain before they even are able to process them. So I was reading an article and it's 60,000 times faster we can process images. We can, in a millisecond, recognize something that we're familiar with. So visual storytelling should be a standard. Keep it in mind, you know, you should always pair your post with a picture that can engage people, a picture that helps tell your story. Include your videos. If you include videos on your website, on YouTube, share them on social media. And one of the things about videos is people are very concerned about creating video content because it can get expensive. So start with, if you're concerned about that, start with building your evergreen content out for in video format. Stuff that you're always going to use. Your evergreen content is those things that are always there. So we see that picture and, you know, how many words would it take us to really describe what that person is feeling, what that emotion is? You know, visual storytelling is telling a story in that picture without having to use words. So, I mean, it would take us a long time to describe how that woman is feeling, that a picture does it in just a few seconds. And that's why it makes such a huge difference on social media. Just getting your story across in that 8 seconds that you have. Any questions on visual storytelling? That's a pretty basic one, but it's an important one. So enrolling your users help is strategy number 2. You enroll your users help to really verify your brand story. You want to have them really say, yeah, this is this brand. They believe in this. They do this for me. We talked about it at great length in our social proof webinar, but just for a quick review, encouraging the creation of user-generated content helps you really tell your story from a different viewpoint. The most significant value is really that it's someone else supporting your story. And a customer recommendation or product is one of the most powerful recommendations for your brand. So some good examples of user-generated content. Does anybody recognize that first one? It's probably one of the biggest user-generated content campaigns there is. Shot on my iPhone.
That's yours. Yeah.
Shot on my iPhone is one of the biggest user-generated content campaigns there is out there. There's billboards of user-generated content in Times Square, of pictures that are taken on iPhones. It's a great way. It's a great way, one, to have your users create advertisements for you, but two, they're telling your story in a big way. Other ones, Burberry did a trench coat one a couple of years ago that was really successful. Just pictures of people wearing any trench coat in all sorts of weather. But the visuals of it were very strong and really helped them kind of tell the story of their trench coat. And Adobe does a very smart one because Adobe's asking people to share their work that they do on their Adobe products. Now, Adobe is, a visual creative suite. What they found is a lot of people didn't know you could do these sort of things or didn't believe they were real and could be created until a user created them and shared them. So it's really having the user tell the story of the power of the software through their creation. So that was a really smart one that Adobe has done over the course of a couple years. So, and again, the bias is removed. One of the reasons why this works so well in really telling your story is the bias is removed. Your customer is relatable. They're not in favor of you for any particular reason. They're just wanting to get a good experience. And people listen to their peers. 92% of customers trust recommendations made by their peers. 59% trust advertisements. So that's a huge, huge difference. And user-generated content is an indirect recommendation for a service or a product. So what other opportunities do you see for businesses to capture user-generated content? Contests, promos, how-to videos, etc. Any ideas? Nothing? There's a lot of opportunities for, for doing contests, photo contests, or increasing, having tutorial videos created by followers, different people using the products and the brand. So there are a lot of opportunities out there.
Well, it kind of depends on your product or service, right?
It does. It does. And it's good throughout everything we talk about here kind of depends on your product or service, but there's a way to get people involved in some way. So really just looking and being creative about how you can get people involved and how you can have them highlight your features and benefits of your product. Really good that I don't have my camera on my desk because my desk is a little bouncy today. All right, verifying with proof. Do more than just talk the talk. The thing with social proof is it's saying, hey, this person really does do this. They believe the story that you're telling because other people are saying it's true. So, it's a great way to maximize your story on social media. You should be sharing any social proof, any recommendations, anything that you get on social media. Howie, I almost stuck yours in here, but it wouldn't upload to YouTube correctly for me. But any reviews, any recommendations, any video tutorials, anything like that not tutorials, testimonials that you have, it's great to include them on social media. It shows people that you do actually say what you do. Say you do what you do. That was a lot of words. Now, a lot of businesses say, okay, I got a whole bunch of reviews now. I'm good. I don't have to worry about this anymore. That's not true. As a business, it's great to have a lot of reviews, but if they're not current, they actually mean a lot less to followers than current reviews. Most followers will look at a review and say it's current and matters if it's within 3 months. So say you have a whole ton of reviews from when you first started your business 4 years ago, and then you have a couple trickling in here and there, and they might not be as 5-star and great because you're not new anymore and people have used you. What a consumer is going to see is a business that's in decline or a business that used to care about their customers. So it's really important that you continue to get reviews every day. So what are some everyday opportunities to get reviews with your customers and clients? When you're engaging with them, when they're in front of you, if they are praising you because they are having a great experience, that's a great opportunity to say, would you mind writing a review? You can ask for reviews. That's fine. Just don't pay for reviews. Google's not going to be happy if you pay for a review. Yelp's not going to be happy if you pay for a review. But you can ask anybody for a review for your business. And it's important that you do that.
You also can't ask them for the number of stars. You can't you can't ask them to give you a certain number of stars.
You can't ask them to give you a certain number of stars. Ask for a review, though. You can ask for a review.
You can ask for reviews.
Now, what other everyday opportunities do you have?
You could always email and ask them what they think of you and go from there.
You could. If you have them right in front of you, you could do that. If you've brought them, if you've delivered something to them, if you're at the closing table with them and they're buying their house, that's no better time than that. They're going to be so happy. And you can't be afraid to ask for reviews because you might get a negative review. I think it's important to understand that you might get a negative review. But you can turn a negative review into a positive review by making sure that you follow up with that person, see what their opportunity was and what their issue was. Is it an opportunity for you to fix things? And then make sure you fix it and you can contact that person and they can adjust their review for you. But reviews are a good thing. And the possibility of a negative review, which should be small if you're confident in your business, the possibility of a negative review should not outweigh the benefit of positive reviews. All right. So better than a celebrity. And no, Kim Kardashian is not going to sell your candles, and really it doesn't matter. But magnifying with influencers. Now, here's the thing with influencers. It's better than a celebrity endorsement, but it has to match your brand and it has to match their brand. In order for it to work, really, you need to make sure that your brands match, that you're talking the same talk, that you are approaching and want to win the same audience that they already are in. So just any influencer won't necessarily help you. The right influencer will help you. So brands really need to complement each other. All right. Just some examples of influencer marketing that we did with one of my former companies, Urban Jungle DC. Just people with the plants, and we had great influencers that we work with there. But all of their brands were higher end brands that were focused on fashion, on high-end digital stuff. I forget what the third person I'm trying to think, and I can't remember. But it was all higher-end brands that matched the Urban Jungle brand as well. Any questions about influencer marketing? All right, so those are our 4 basic ones. And all of them will help you tell your story on social media and help you get further on social media. But there's 3 that are the big win ones. And the first one is creating an arc. So does everybody know well, your brand story doesn't happen in a vacuum, and your storytelling shouldn't either. So what I mean by that is your brand story happens in the world, and your storytelling should happen in the world as well. It kind of touches on every aspect of your brand. So there's a lot of different ways that you can incorporate your story into your social media, into your storytelling on your website. And creating an arc allows you to tell more of your story. It allows you to put more content in your posts and really get more information out there. So you really want to maximize this. You want to it increases your engagement. You get a deeper connection because you're giving them more beneficial information. One of the things that's going to possibly, and by possibly I mean it's probably more than likely going to happen, is Instagram's going to remove the likes, as is Facebook. Now, likes don't really mean anything other than they're a visible metric, and it tells Instagram the more likes something has, the more beneficial people think it is. So when they take away likes, the most likely option is that in order to tell whether it's a good post, they're going to track saves. Longer content posts will get more saves because it's something that they're going to want to go back to look at, something that has information in it that they may want to reference at a later date. So you want to put in content that is savable and start putting that into your mindset on your social media now, because Instagram will still need a way to tell if a post is valuable to followers. And they're going to pick a metric. More than likely, it'll be something along the lines of saves. So it shows that it's creating value for your followers. So it really just builds this ARC idea, helps you really build content that is educational, useful, and entertaining. Now, in order to utilize ARCs, you really need to use a content calendar. However you use your content calendar, it's just really, the idea is you know what you're going to post when you're going to post it. Now, all these colors aren't specific posts. They're types of posts. And, I use this to kind of fill in a content calendar on, like, say for Robin, I use Hootsuite, and we build out posts for that based on a content calendar. It allows you to say you're building an ARC and you want to post these things every Monday. But you look at your content calendar and go, oh, wait, there's 2 holidays on a Monday. So you may not want to post it on Mondays. And Thursdays, you have other things that you may be posting on a regular basis. So really just being able to plan it out in advance so you see where things are going to fall is very important. And you really want to make sure that you weave together all the posts, highlighting varying viewpoints and aspects of the story. And they should all contribute to the main idea of the story arc. So, story arcs in practice. Robin, who's on this call, and I talked about this next month really focusing on how we want to, who's calling me? Go away. How we want to talk about buyers. She wants people to think about buying homes. So we put together this. That's the start of part of her first story arc. So I'm going to get 30 seconds to breathe. I don't know if you can all. It's just background music. Me talking. All right, let's go back to our, come on. My picture is blocking it. There we go. So this is really the start of a story arc that we're telling in October. We're focusing on home buyers. In order to do this, we created kind of 2 separate story arcs. So this video was not really part necessarily of the story arc, but it's really the main idea of the story arcs that we're telling. So we created 2 story arcs. One will tell the home buyer's journey, as well as one that'll discuss upgrades and features that millennial home buyers are looking for in their homes. The first arc is really going to be the wider arc that highlights Robin, services that are offered, happy client and closing day, as well as offer up some educational content to help first-time home buyers. And ideally will also contain a customer testimonial. It's an 8-post arc over the course of 4 weeks that I have planned out on her calendar based on, it's going to be a Tuesday, Thursday posting, most of them, I believe. So the way the first arc looks like is buying your home story arc. It's the 8 posts, deciding to buy. These are different steps in your journey. Deciding to buy, hiring your agent, which will be, hopefully they're hiring Robin, securing financing, where we'll hopefully feature a partner there. Some discussions on finding their home, making an offer, performing due diligence, closing, yay, happy people. And then following up, protecting the investment or whatever it may be, so that there is some follow-up and you don't forget, hey, Robin sold you this house, but she's there as a resource if you need her. Second arc is more of a list formatted arc, and a lot of people do this as well, where they say, hey, here are 5 things that we want to talk about over the next 5 weeks. And they list out those 5 things. That's also a great way to kind of engage people and tell the story from one point to the next. And these are just the different features that people are looking for in a home. And we'll be telling that over the next 5 weeks. All right. Any other ways to utilize story arcs or ideas and questions on this concept? Shout them out. Nothing? I'm completely clear in everything that I say there.
This is Lorraine. I do have a question.
Sure.
My business, I do wellness and healing, so I'm just a little stumped as to how I could do something like this.
Well, what types of, are there types of practices that you get into and what for wellness and healing? Or is there certain different routines that you have people possibly do? I mean, and really telling that story in a way from your viewpoint, from your client's viewpoint, and different ways that you could tell something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's a lot of other options too. I mean, I would have to know a little bit more about the types of wellness and stuff that you're doing, but just kind of telling different aspects of the business, what your focus is, kind of what's going to support your brand story.
Mhm. Okay.
And it doesn't have to be an 8 post arc. It can be a shorter arc. It can be, a few different exercises, like the month of November is, self-care month, whatever it may be, and kind of talk about different ways that you can do self-care so that you don't get run down heading
Oh,
into the
okay.
holidays.
I understand. All right. That's good. Okay.
All right? Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Again.
Yeah. So
Yep.
so I have a question too. So what you're doing for me is you're making these arcs, right? Is it 1 week or 2 weeks or?
Right. In a lot of ways, I'm creating arcs for you that cover different things during a certain month. A great way to do story arcs and kind of have content for story arcs is if you have a blog post that has multiple points in it. You can actually tell the story of that blog post over the course of 4 or 5 posts. And we'll go into that a little bit more when we talk about blogging as a way to expand your story. But yeah, that's kind of what I do for you, Howie. I take your blog post and I break it up into different chunks, telling key points of it over the course of 4 or 5 posts, and referencing it back to the blog.
Okay, so I must be I look at what you've created, and not that I have not intentionally tried to put the pieces together to say, oh, here's the beginning of the arc and here's the end of the arc. I haven't done that at all. But there is a rationale to the order that you put all this stuff in.
Generally.
I just didn't see. Okay.
And I also do try, depending on when I'm putting posts together for people, I do try to mix up some of the type of posts over the course of the week as well. So you're looking at a story arc that may cross over the month, like on Tuesdays, and then may also be breaking up some of the content so that people are seeing something different Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. One of the things you don't want to do with a story arc is you don't want to actually tell it in a week. So say you have 5 posts, you don't want to put those 5 posts all in that same week, because after the first post, what'll happen with a story arc is it kind of creates interest because it continues for a month. But if you post it in the same week, it's actually going to decrease your interest because people are going to say, okay, yeah, you posted that yesterday. We get it. Enough. So it's kind of, it's playing with the mind You have 5 great posts. You could post them all in the same week, but if you actually post them across 5 weeks in a month, you're going to get better engagement across that, and people are going to be actually hoping to see that next post instead of seeing that next post the next day and going, yeah, I saw that yesterday, I get it.
Oh, okay. All right, very good.
All right?
Thank you.
No
Yep.
problem. Any other questions about story arcs? All right. So expanding on your blog, you want to be, you really want to establish yourself as an expert. You want to be a leader. And your blog is one of those things that can help you. And I talk about blogs all the time. I'm getting tired about hearing myself talk about blogs. But it really, they have an amazing power to really tell your story. It drives more people to your website. It engages people more. It's a powerful tool that converts your audience into clients, which is something that we all want. It positions you as an expert in your field. Your business blog functions as a lead generation tool, which is incredibly important. It allows you to really create in-depth content. Say you want to talk about whatever it is really badly, the home buyer's journey, whatever you have, you want to talk about it really badly and you want to talk about it in depth. You can do that on your blog. It is your platform. You don't have any word limits. You don't have anything, you know, it's your place. And it really allows you to highlight your story and who you are. It's a searchable place to dump all that useful information in your head. People can search it online. Expanding your story on your blog will lead to greater sales and higher conversion rates. How do I know that? Because the stats show it. And it'll help you build a loyal audience that'll go to you when they need your service or product. This is how I know it. These numbers are crazy. 57% of marketers say they've gained customers specifically through blogging. You have a 434% higher chance of being ranked highly in search engines if you feature a blog on your website. 434% higher chance. That's huge. 66% of marketers surveyed use blogs in their social media content, which means they take this blog and they break it down and use it on their social media. And marketers prioritize blogging efforts are 13 times more likely to see positive ROI. So I keep hammering on blogs, but they really are a great way for you to get yourself out there, get your word out there, and get your business more discovered. So expanding on the blog would work something like this. You're continuing your story arc to a certain extent, or you're starting your story arc. So there's 2 ways you can look at your blog. You can look at your blog as a place that you start telling your story in depth. And you tell your story in depth on your blog first, and you might post your blog out there, but then you can break down the chunks of your blog and use them as social media posts. So either way, you're really continuing your story arc with your blog, and you're expanding on whatever the story is, because you can go in depth on things, such as, in this case, I use the example of the story arc that we're telling for the month for Robin. Let's say she created this lovely blog post about it. And this lovely blog post goes into detail on the different areas that she talked about in her blog posts. So she could then, in all of her social media posts, reference back to this blog, include a link, which does what? It drives people to your content. It drives people to your website. So you're capturing them on your website where they can see all the other things that you're really good at. It's building traffic. It's allowing you to really have a deeper dive on stuff that you're interested in. And it really becomes refreshable, reusable, evergreen content that can be searched and adds value to your audience. So blogs are powerful. Blogs allow you to do a lot of different things. I would say I get more traffic off of my blog than anything else. And I'm not very good at actually breaking down my business blog and using it on my social media, because I tell 2 different stories on my social media. Is more focused on art, and Facebook is more focused on the business end of it. So I am not great at doing that and using my blog, but I still get more traffic from my blog than anything else. Questions about blogging?
And not so much a question, but just, you also got to kind of remember to keep your categories and tags are relevant too, which helps with that search we're talking about.
Yeah.
So people can find that blog in a more logical way.
Yep. Any other questions about what blog, what you could be blogging about, or how your blog can help you? Nothing.
Is it? Yeah, can you use is a blog? Can that be tips? Is that something separate from your website, or?
So your blog is it's contained on your website, but it is tips. It is long form writing. It is video. It is, there's a lot of different ways that you can do your blog. And it doesn't have to be, like I was telling Robin, my blog is very long form because I'm talking about tips for businesses on how to really do certain things on social media. So it's really a little bit of a longer form blog type. But you can create just like the 5 things that, every new home buyer needs to know. And that could be written or it could be a video. You are on your blog, you're going to want to include text explaining the video because and Rich can probably answer that all better for us because it's SEO. But there are requirements for you to have, for it to be searchable and stuff like that. You're going to want to have keywords and that sort of thing, but you can do blogs in a lot of different ways. And it could also be a video blog or vlog, as millennials and Gen Z say. I can't speak their language. I just do work for them.
Yeah, he's right. You want to definitely get some keywords in there, things that people are typing into Google as questions. You want to get a hold of those and answer those questions in a blog. Because they're looking for it, they're searching for it, and like he says, it's going to drive them to your site, and it helps for a lot of different things. I'm going to keep with social media. So we're going to go with that.
So, all right. Any other questions? I'm making you dizzy now, going back and forth.
One thing I would say is that it's always tough to get the ROI from these blogs, because if people are listening to the blog, liking, are they buying something, or maybe referring you to somebody else? It's always tough to kind of get an ROI of, how much am I getting back for the money I'm spending, or for the effort, I should
For
say.
the effort. Yeah, and it is sometimes, you have to look at it that you're putting an effort out there, and a lot of social media is the long game. So you're putting the effort out there over the course of time to get, to build yourself up as an expert, to highlight all the things that you can do to, really get. It's a long game, and it's hard, yes, to measure the ROI off the bat, but there is definitely, whether it's traffic or people who are asking questions, there's going to be, if you are consistent about it and you're providing useful information that is unique to your, your business and your voice, you're going to see some return on investment, but it is definitely not something that's easy to measure.
You just have to keep your eye on the buyer's journey.
Yeah. The buyer's journey is going to be key here, because all of these things are touching on multiple aspects of their journey. And, the blog may be helping them decide that they want to buy a product. It may not be yours, but they want to buy a product. And then getting that information from you puts you in their mind, at least. They may not buy the product from you, and that's kind of a hard thing, putting, you put a lot of information out there and it may not get you the sale right off the bat, but it might get you the customer in the long run. And that's where creating connections comes in. So creating connections is really the be all and end all when you look at it. You need to be creating connections off of your social media. And yes, it's easier said than done. But when it comes down to it, the best way to magnify your story is to connect with people and build followers and listen to what they have to say, deliver content that is engaging to your specific audience and the people that are following you, and respond to people. Comment. If they comment back, and don't just say thanks. Comment with something of real value that they can learn from, that they'll want to engage with you again. Because building an authentic brand really requires you to actually engage with people. In my past life, when I was a college bookstore manager, and this is one of those moments that I kind of go back to and say, okay, I actually did make a difference and people actually did care. You know, I was at the local convenience store buying something, and a professor came in from his car. He had left already, and he came in from his car and he rushed in. He goes, "Oh my God, thank God you're here." And I was like, okay, this is not, I'm off the clock. What? Oh my God, thank God you're here. I was trying to get down to the bookstore. I was trying to bring you this because I know you don't like it when our orders are late. And I saw you here, so I ran to my car. I wanted to get this for you. And he handed me a book order, which, yes, it could be late, but there was that amount of respect that he had for me because I'd worked with him and I've talked with him about getting his orders. And I built a connection with him that he didn't want to disappoint, and he wanted to get me his book order on time. You know, so build those connections that matter, those connections with people that are engaging with you that matter, those real connections, because those are going to go further than you could ever imagine. You know, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the things I did to build those connections down here. But, you know, there's a lot of different ways to build connections. You can build connections online with your followers. Begin by responding to their comments on their posts. I don't know how many businesses don't respond to comments that they get on their posts. And that could get you a customer. It could be that somebody is interested in what you're saying and they might actually want to buy from you. So it's an opportunity to have a customer and you're not responding. Follow up with questions that they could answer. Thank people for likes, respond to messages, get more personal with the response type. Like you can do a voice message or video message to people. Visit their profiles, like a couple posts that are relevant to your business. Don't get creepy. Don't get creepy. But, you know, if it's somebody that you know, somebody that you've worked with, you can go to their profile and like their posts. If it's a business that you've worked with, you should absolutely go over to their profile and like some of their posts. Just don't be a creepy stalker about it. Open the lines of communication between you and your audience and keep them open. So you can, in Instagram, you can create actual videos that you send to people. And this is one of those ways to break through that they don't know my name, they don't know my face, they don't know who I am from anybody. And it's really a great way to engage people because it shows that you took the time, even if you just do a voice one, but you know, it shows that you took the time to reach out and talk to them or care or answer their response. And it's easy. You hit the button, you record. So you record a video message and then see that I went too fast, but at the bottom there, it had Robin's picture and I can tap that and send it to Robin and she gets a message in her Instagram that is a video message from me saying whatever it is and connecting with her. So there's two good things about that. One, you're connecting with them and putting a face to, you know, your business and you're really creating a personal connection there. The other thing is it's going to help your engagement because any communication that you do on the apps, on Instagram, on Facebook with the app actually helps your engagement numbers and gets people involved. And that's going to help Instagram show that you actually care about your followers, stuff like that. And it helps your placing in the algorithm.
So is that something you can do on any, like that I can automatically, with my Instagram account, I could make and send videos to other people as long as I'm connected with them on Instagram?
Yep.
Okay.
Right in messages, there's an option to click video. There's also an option to do a voice message.
Okay.
So it's a great way to stay connected with people.
Awesome.
Host virtual events and expos. Respond to all of your reviews online. Invite followers to join you in a focus group or webinar. You should join me in a focus group or webinar again. I have one coming up. Have them test out potential new products or services. Your followers, especially your regular followers, are interested in your product. Get them involved in what you have coming out, what you might have coming up next. Get their input on it because they'll feel like hey, I got to try this. I really like this product. They're going to feel like I helped make this product work. And that is a great feeling to get because then they really are engaged and invested in your product. You know, online virtual events and expos, there's a lot of social media groups out there. Groups are a great way to engage your followers, get them involved in a group, do different things. This is one of the groups I belong to, Illuminations Group. It's a lot of businesses kind of working together and getting information out there and sharing each other's information, stuff like that. In-person ways to engage. Host an open house or meet the team event. They're great ways to get people, introduce yourself to people, get to know your clients. Host an open house at your business. Host an open house somewhere at another business and partner with them. Go out into the field with your team regularly. So if you've got people making deliveries or you've got people meeting with clients, go out with them on a regular basis. Yes, it's not your number one job, but it's a great way to get out and connect with people. Invite your online audience to an in-person networking event, whatever it may be. There's opportunities for you to invite them to a networking event, whether it's a meeting that you generally go to or otherwise. Have office hours at your place of business. Tell people, if you want to talk or meet me, I have office hours during these days at this time, like professors used to do. But it gives people, a lot of people that work at home don't get that connection with their clients and stuff. And it's important to do that to build relationships. So offer that up to people, and regularly participate in local events. So the Books and Bagels Party, Part 2, that was actually the event that I launched when I was college bookstore manager. That was a very informal event that we had every quarter for professors, and it was really a thank you for them getting us their book orders on time. We invited every single professor that submitted a book order on time, but we sat down with them and we talked with them. We had a bagel, we had some coffee, and we talked about what their challenges were, how we could help them, and built relationships on that one-to-one level that you couldn't build unless you met with people like that. It's little things like that. And yes, a lot of you guys are doing online businesses, but it's little things like that that make you real and authentic and approachable. And that makes people want to do business with you. So that's why, engaging your audience and really building a connection with them is one of the big win strategies. It's, in my opinion, the biggest big win strategy, with blogging and the ARCs really kind of helping you get to that point of building these connections. And I think, questions? Any questions or comments, or, hey, I'd really like it next time if you went over this? Or something I missed or anything like that?
Actually, I wanted to go back to influencers. Are there influencers for every a business, vertical?
There are influencers that are really across a lot of different. Yes, there are, not directly, but there are people that are involved in that can touch on the audience that you want, and it really depends on what audience you want to touch. So, but
So
yeah. Yep.
I have a question.
Mhm.
For blogging, should your blogs be associated with your story arc, or are the blogs going to be something that's going to be there permanently? Is it important to have them sync up with the current story arc, or how should that happen?
They should complement your brand story, but they should be informational in a way that is evergreen in a lot of senses. Now, your blog couldn't possibly be on a topic that may, trends and stuff that may not be an evergreen piece, but if you're putting the effort into to create the blog post, right now I would say you're going to want to focus on the evergreen stuff that is brand appropriate to your brand story.
Okay.
So, but something like that blog, which was, information pulled from the Keller site, is something that you could easily adapt into a blog that's appropriate for what you want to talk about.
Right. Okay.
And that's one of the things with blogging is there is a lot of research that you kind of put in, but it also helps you really focus on and have a good structure for the blog post and make it valuable. because that's a tool. You know, your blog post could be a tool that you provide to clients. It could be something that you reference multiple times on social media and drive people back to your site. Stuff
Okay.
like that.
Sounds good.
All right. Any other questions or anything?
Nope, I got to go into my meeting, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Great job.
All right. See ya.
Okay.
Thank you, Howie. All right, guys. If you have nothing else, I will talk to you guys later. And thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. It was
All right,
great.
thanks,
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Jonathan.
one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Right.